Right now, just clear up a few things. I've gotten a couple of text messages and emails this morning. How come I'm not giving Massachusetts results? Well, Massachusetts results can be handled by a fine radio station in Great Barrington, WSBS. I could have included some in because we do have our signal at WBSL in Sheffield, but WSBS does a fine job with that, and we let them handle that. Also, I want to thank in advance. Normally, we place people at polling places so we can bring you the updates and bring you the information quickly during election night. Could not do that this year. And so Dale Jones from WZBG, Ruth Epstein from the Republican American, and myself all used our own contacts, and we shared information so we could get news out to the public as quick as possible. That's what cooperation can do, folks. You can be at different radio stations and newspapers, but when it's important information that you need to get out, you all work together to make sure you get it out. Well, the important information that we just talked about is Maria Horn getting reelected. Maria, good morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Marshall. It's nice to be with you.
Yes, sure it is at this hour in the morning. I got to bed about 1 o'clock last night and got up at 3:15 this morning. I'm sure for you, because you ran the campaign and then you have to go, of course, through election night. I'm sure that you're a little shy on sleep this morning as well.
I am too, although you put that in perspective, so I'm not in a position to complain. I got more sleep than you did, Marshall.
Well, that's all right. So now, interesting election season. We still, the presidential race is not decided yet. Actually, the Senate races, not enough of them are decided to see who gains control of the Senate. In Connecticut, Maria, I can tell you right now, I have never seen in my life in Salisbury, and I've never seen a line that formed, I think it was 30 deep at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it just never went away.
Yep, never went away. Yep, that was extraordinary. And I was in and out of Salisbury several times during the course of the day. And, yeah, it never went away. And I heard so many people, I've never seen that for my whole life here. I've never seen this. So
2,600 people showed up to vote. That's just...
Yep. That's
amazing.
And it was, and there are so many positives about that. I mean, first of all, we created, in a pandemic, a whole new, first of all, safeguards for in-person voting, which took a lot of work, and a whole new system to allow, so many people, huge percentage of voters, to vote by absentee. And, we created it. Our incredible town clerks and registrars and poll workers made it work. It was amazing.
I'm looking at the numbers here. Tiny town of Cornwall, okay? Over 1,000 people showed up. Falls Village, tiny town, almost 700 people showed up. In Kent, darn close to 1,800 people showed up. In Sharon, about 1,500 people showed up. In North Canaan, 16 to almost 1,700 people showed up. And in Norfolk, once again, right around 1,000 people showed up. I mean, those are great numbers for small towns.
It is. People in our district care, and we show up. And it really, and we show up and we care, and also we contribute to and respect the process. I can't say that often enough. And I also want to say, Brian OHLER called as soon as the margin of my victory was, it's clear it was strong enough that it was going to last any of the last counting. He called me up right away, was extremely gracious. I'm sure we'll have occasion to work together. I mean, that doesn't happen everywhere, and we ought to be proud of that, and we ought to look for ways to export the way that our district showed up, voted, made their voices heard with passion, and then, respect them.
I have to say it was one of the coldest, windiest voting days I've seen.
It started out a little blustering, that's for sure.
All right, so now you're reelected to another 2-year term. And what are your main objectives as you sit here this morning early on a Wednesday morning at about 25 after 7? What are your main objectives for looking at your term ahead?
I would say in terms of policy, I mean, healthcare and connectivity are two of the things that I plan to be working on. But of course, everything right now is going to be seen through the lens of the pandemic. We're watching Connecticut's numbers start to tick up a little bit, and we have to see how we can best, get through this in a way that saves small businesses and jobs and public health. And that's going to be the lens for, because we're going to have to do another budget very soon.
And speaking on a regular basis with you and with Mark Herco from the Sharon Hospital, I mean, we're all pandemic weary. Parents, grandparents, students, elementary school students. I mean, you name it. Everybody's worried, and yet now it appears we do still have a long way to go in this, and Connecticut rolled back some of its rules for restaurants, and we're going into the dead of winter where we've got we just passed Halloween, and we've got Thanksgiving and the holidays coming up. What's your advice to your constituents? I mean, everybody's got to keep calm and just try to keep your head down and get through this.
I think that's absolutely right. Just put one foot in front of the other. We have learned a whole new set of habits. And I think we're just going to have to hang on to those. And we've also learned, things like kids. We were all very, worried ahead of time about kids wearing masks and how hard that would be. And the kids, by and large, have been incredibly resilient, and they've adapted, and we can learn from them. We can just make sure that we double down on those, habits of being socially distant, wearing a mask, washing your hands, caring about the people around us, and trying to just sort of stick close to home and, protect the community.
All right. Now, a couple of personal questions here. You ran for office for the first time 2 years ago. How did this go? I mean, when you declared for re-election, I mean, was the feeling any different? Did you feel more comfortable running? Did you feel more energized? And of course, there's always the worry of whether or not you can get enough votes. So how did it go for your second time around?
Of course, I mean it's so many things. The second time around, the first time around, everything you're doing for the first time, and this time around, I was not. I had a great team of people and a great group of volunteers. I knew so many people. I mean, the difference, I didn't, of course, our campaign in 2018 was fueled by a lot of door knocking. It's not the case this year, but the little that I did in the summer, I would walk out, and people knew who I was, and people would walk up to me and talk about policy and talk about, having, met me when I knocked on their door 2 years ago. So you start with a whole different base, which is really fun, because then you can build off that, and you have a record, which gives people context, and that's helpful. Of course, the pandemic changed so much, and we couldn't, we had to move from in-person conversations, which I think are just the most important way to do this, to, phone conversations and Zoom conversations. But we adapted. And we were still able to talk to, our campaign made 14,000 phone calls. It's pretty extraordinary. So.
All right, and one final question for you this morning. You're going to have to buy yourself a new car.
Yeah, I love my car.
Yeah, I mean, you're always...
Yes, we'll see.
You're always in it.
I am always in it. And in fact, I was laughing because yesterday I get in the habit of tossing extra clothes in there and little snacks and whatever else I need. And yesterday, in that morning weather, I was very happy. I had a couple of extra layers stashed away in the back of that car. So,
well, I'm not going to keep.
My car was also a partner in the campaign.
I was going to say, well, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Maybe you can relax this morning. But congratulations on your re-election, and for people that want to keep abreast of what Maria is doing, it's not a hard thing to do. She's got her own website. She's got her own Facebook page. You can subscribe to that, get updates, and of course, she's made herself available to newspapers and broadcast outlets. So, Maria, congratulations. Get some rest, and good luck.
Thanks, Marshall. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care. That is Maria Horn, reelected to our representative in Hartford for the 64th District.